Timer ready? 3, 2, 1, action. Pan the audience for me. Thank you. Today I want to talk to you about soldiers, warriors, raiders. Some even consider them to be godless barbarians or bloodthirsty heathens. They came from the sea. They swooped inland, killing, stealing, and destroying everything in their path. I'm talking about the Viking invasions of East Anglia in the 9th century. My main points that I'm going to cover today are when. Number 1, when did the Vikings attack? Number 2, how did they travel from wherever they were to England? Number 3, what damage did they bestow on the country? Number 4, how was England able to repel and survive against the Viking invasions? And number 5, what does history say about Alfred the Great? When did they attack England? The Vikings first attacked actually in the 8th century. However, the 9th century proved to be the roughest for the English-speaking nation. In 793, the Anglo-Saxon was quoted as saying, the ravages of heathen men miserably destroyed God's church on Lindisfarne with plunder and slaughter. Kowalski, 2001. At first, they only attacked the coastlines and raided the villages to steal from the church and the monasteries. That was also Kowalski, 2001. By 870, there was only one kingdom that hadn't surrendered to the Vikings. Wessex was the only surviving kingdom. Kowalski, 2001. How did they travel to England from wherever they were? The Vikings, with their stellar craftsmanship, conquered most of England. They developed superb ocean-going vessels powered by sailors and oars. They were famous for their longships. These ships were technologically advanced, featuring shallow drafts that allowed them greater access inland. Moore, 2014. If you look at this picture, this shows an example.
See, it's not going.
Shows an example of how deep the ship was, the oars, and the people that had to prepare the oars. Vikings made all of their own goods. Self-sufficient made their ability to conquer other peoples very successful. Vikings used these skills to pave the way to major contributions to Europe and Europe's cities. What kind of damage were the Vikings able to bestow on the country? As a result of the Vikings' advanced ability to raid, invade, conquer, they were able to demolish most of England. The Anglo-Saxon tribes were not organized enough to repel the Viking invasions. Viking organization was far more advanced. They were able to conquer the less capable nations. All of the English-speaking civilization was endangered. How? 2008. The next slide shows some of the damage that they did to churches and monasteries that was along the coastline. Fleeing meant that the Vikings gained rule over the lands. Others switched allegiance to the Vikings so that they could hopefully save their own lives. How? 2008. How was the only English-speaking nation able to repel the Viking onslaught? Alfred the Great was England's saving grace. While other leaders were defeated, including King Alfred, he was able to organize a place of protection, sustenance, and knowledge of the Danes and the Vikings' whereabouts. Local farmers brought food and news of the Danes to Alfred. Nobles who pledged their allegiance to Alfred fought alongside him. Carr, 2001. Alfred's ability to gain such loyalty was rare and aided in his success against the Vikings. Alfred respected the law and came from a more stable area, which was Wessex, that was better capable to organize against the Danes. Alfred made it his mission to consolidate English rule in an effort to strengthen the country. And he was able to succeed because of his leadership abilities. Carr, 2001. What does history say about King Alfred? King Alfred is looked to as a hero. Among the English people, he was credited with creating England itself. Winston Churchill, Prime Minister of England, once said, "When we look at Alfred's story, we are actually watching the birth of a nation." Johannesson, 1999. This picture shows Alfred the Great. He's holding his Bible. He was known to be religious. He's holding his shield. He's known to protect his people. Winston Churchill's the man on the right. He was the Prime Minister of England that thought so highly. Alfred's son Edward lived to see Alfred's dream of united England come to fruition. Alfred planted the roots of literature into the English language and expected all free men to learn to read. Alfred established a new code of Anglo-Saxon law and secured the country's heritage. Johannesson, 1999. A man of learning, of religion, Alfred emphasized learning and reading as well as the church. The Viking invasions were very long, drawn out, bloody, brutal, and fraught with conflict. Today I discuss several aspects of the Viking invasions of the 9th century. When did the Vikings attack? How did they travel? What damage did they do to England? How was England able to repel the Viking invasions? And what does history say about Alfred the Great? This is an important event in history. There are many books, movies, and even TV series that represent the history of the Viking missions. The Vikings were strong and organized, but England was able to repel and survive, and making their place as an important nation in history. Thank you.